Hi folks. So, a few points. I'm going to continue from the last video in a second. But I'm just trying to watch a program again that I'd started watching. I watched episode 1 of it and I thought I'm going to give up. But it is a new TV program called The Studio, so I thought I'd give it a go again. But because it's got Seth Rogen, I can't stand Seth Rogen. As an actor. I don't know him as a person, but as an actor. He seems to always play the same character. Always. Every single movie that I've seen him in is the same person. It is basically the same person. And there's a few. There's a few people where that is the case. Where they are basically probably H-rate actors. So not A-rate or B-rate or C-rate, H-rate actors. But in America, he is so loved and so honoured for being this mighty, actor, comedy actor. And he is awful. There's nothing in it. Every time I see him, he's playing a character that is an idiot. Sometimes it's a character who has, like in The Studio, he has an important job. How on earth he got the important job, I don't think he will know. Because in his head, he's a bloody moron. And yet, here we are again, Seth Rogen playing the main character of a studio head who thinks he's far more important than what he is. And of course, they had to pick him for it because it's perfectly written for him. For every one of the characters he's ever played. And it's like, it's just annoying. Yeah. I honestly, I've seen a few of the films that he's been in, and in all of them, I just, whenever he comes on screen, I go, yeah. Is him. It's just the same old. Yeah. But I was speaking about it to God and saying it doesn't matter. He's got a lot of people liking him, and I've got a lot of things that I like, so I don't need to like him. He doesn't need me to like him, so therefore that's cool. Good. It all works out beautifully in the end. But isn't that the thing, though? Yeah, we have so much variety. Yeah. Anyway, the point about changing. Yeah. Yes. People stay in a church that they know for them is wrong. But because after years and years and years, they've got relationships with the people in that church, leaving that church for a new one, changing churches, therefore, is incredibly difficult to do. Incredibly difficult to do. People stay in bad jobs for the same reason. It's far easier to stay in a bad job than it is to find a new one. Far easier. Your motivation has to be strong. So therefore, yes, in work, quite often, people stay in a bad job, or a job that's bad for them at least, until the SH hits the fan, and then they get motivated to do something about it. People stay in bad relationships. People stay in areas that are bad for them. Or in areas that they consider to be dead. They know where they want to be. But going there is more difficult than wanting to go there. And so change is incredibly difficult for anyone. I say the problem with the change of church, or changing a church from how they are, is that you're telling people that the life choices that you've made for the last 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years, depending on how long you've been in that church, have been wrong. You're telling people, and this is true for most churches, that if you would have died 2 years ago, even 6 months ago, even 2 months ago, even a few days before you got there to change that church, they would have gone to hell. Because of the choices that they were making and the way that they were doing things, according to, that they were bringing too much of the world and the wrong things from the world into the church. The real consequences. When you start bringing the real consequences home of what they've done. Because the thing about change is, to a certain degree, you've got to tell people why you need to change. Now, okay, it would be lovely, wouldn't it be, if you can just go into a church and start introducing new things and the church changes that way. Yeah, sometimes that will happen. Problem is, it will take longer that way. It would take longer. If you say to a church, because if you want to do it quickly, you need to go into a church and you need to say, well, like, I'm going to use a football example again. We have Tottenham Hotspurs and Man United and Rangers in Scotland and whatever other teams. You can say Real Madrid, you can say Barcelona. Yeah, all of them have had things happening in the last season that would have taught them that, yeah, you need to do something different. You need to change. Real Madrid got humiliated in the semi-finals of the European Cup, which is basically the thing they won the most, really, apart from their own league. Yeah, it's known as their cup, and they got humiliated in it. Barcelona, again, pretty poor. They weren't very good in it either. Man City have had a pretty humiliating season as well. They've dropped quite far. And so for all of these, they've had now, because of what happened last season, there's a lot of teams that are highly motivated for change. Because the last season was very, very bad. And so therefore there was strong motivation for change. Tottenham Hotspurs have sacked their manager, and Postecoglou, and they brought in the Brentford manager. Is that going to work? I have no idea. The Brentford manager, decent enough manager, or the former Brentford manager, now Tottenham manager, decent enough manager. But will he be the right one to turn Tottenham around? Don't know. Time will tell. At Manchester United, are they going to be able to get rid of enough players and bring enough players in to have a sea change in that club? Time will tell. Right now, no idea. They've signed one player so far. So, yeah. They haven't actually got rid of any so far. So, therefore, yeah. Don't know. Time will tell. But that's why, for change, you won't see much change from Liverpool. You won't see much change from Arsenal. You won't see much change from Chelsea. You won't see much change from Nottingham Forest. You won't see much change from any of the other teams that did pretty well last season. So from PSG, you won't see much change because they won their league and the Champions League. So they had a good season. There is no motivation there for change. For whatever degree of change, there has to be the same sort of degree of motivation for that change. So therefore, yes, it is correct that the SH will seriously have to hit the screen for that to happen. So, there you go. Enjoy. You take care. God bless. And Seth Rogen, well, I wish him well. You take care. Indeed, it is what it is. So have a fantastic week ahead. And yes, we will see what happens with regards to these motivations and whether these changes are going to happen or not. Changes happen all the time, but in church, we'll see. So you take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.